Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. And welcome to another exciting episode of Frail Conversations. And today, as you've seen from the title, we're going to be talking about mental health. I talk about mental health a lot, um, but I realize that I don't have an episode specifically about mental health, you know. And I think in the sense that I may have overlooked it or may have never even thought to do it simply because of the way in which I, you know, speak about the mind so much and speak about so many things. But I feel like when it comes to mental health, I think there needs to be like a clear understanding of, what we speak about. Yeah, we talk about therapy, but, you know, therapy ain't always available to everybody, for one. And for two, some people don't need to rely on therapy at all times. Um, Me personally, I'm not saying do away with therapy or leave it alone, but I'm saying understand the milestones of mental health. Therapy would be, in my opinion, the equivalent of a personal trainer. Your personal trainer is there to, personally, supposedly, the personal trainer is designed to get you back in shape, get you a motivation. But it's like when you make that personal trainer have an obligation in your life, you're not motivated unless you have that trainer. When that trainer is gone, that means that your own internal ambition and initiative, I'm sorry, your own internal initiative isn't kicking in to tell you to do something, right? So when we look at mental health, like all right, so if on a physical level, if you constantly need that personal trainer, that means you're not really set to be in shape. You feel me? You're dependent upon something, right? You can't access that within. So that same stuff can translate over when it comes to our mental health. But it's even worse because our mental health, a lot of times we don't know it's damaged. We don't know how to identify the weaknesses, how to identify a strong mind, a weak mind, or whatever the case may be. A lot of times we misconfuse, we misinterpret the reality of what it is to have strong mental health or a strong mind, and we often label it as a stubborn mind. Me personally, just the circles that I grew up around, and this is reconditioning that I had to go through to realize that a strong mind isn't necessarily a stubborn mind, and vice versa. You feel me? I grew up under the impression that I had a strong mind when it was really just stubborn. It worked in my benefit because I'm stubborn minded in the context that um, you have to know more than I know for me to take, what I'm saying, take in what you're saying. And it has nothing to do with me being like overly arrogant or not, like, but I be knowing what I be talking about. So you got to know what you're talking about when you talk to me, or I'm not going to move my position. But we got to understand that there's a difference between being stubborn and being strong minded. And in my younger days, I was more stubborn than I was strong minded. So it was whatever was told to me went in one ear and out the other, and it wasn't processed to see how I need to utilize it. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what happens with us as men. We're programmed for that. Our mental health is not important. And it's not important in the sense that it's not a valid thing. It's not important in the sense that we don't prioritize it, because as kids we only know weak and strong, but we know the principles of weak and strong, but we don't know the different dynamics of what it is to be weak and strong in different capacities. You feel what I'm saying? So one of the plot twists to it is how our emotionality is tied to our mentality too. I'll break that down as we go forward. Our emotionality is tied to our thought process too. So, and our mentality. So, if we're not allowed to utilize our emotions, or we're not encouraged to utilize our emotions, how can we really be strong minded when our emotions help fuel our thoughts to make us strong minded in our first place? A lot of us don't look at it like that because we think thoughts and emotions are two separate entities rather than opposite sides of the same coin that define themselves in a different way for us to have a better understanding of each other. So, as I said, I talk about mental health a lot, but I mainly talk about the mind. But I want to talk about how the mind is incorporated within mental health and how to actually give yourself the resources to, to continue on. Because, like I said, your therapist is your personal trainer. That's it. But a personal trainer, if they're really personally training you, you should be learning about anatomy and physiology. You should be learning about nutrition. You should be learning about these things. You shouldn't be dependent upon this resource for these things. But when we have therapy, when we go to therapy, They teach us to keep coming back. You feel me? Keep coming back. Some therapists give you the tools, but for the most part, it's how do you have the tools when you're not taught what the full dynamic of your mind is to even be healthy? You see what I'm saying? We go to the gym and we know we got leg day, we got arm day, we got um, back day. We know what to isolate, but how do you know what to isolate when it comes to the mind? What individual pieces do you know to address? What do you know? Okay, this is this part of my mind. This is this part of my mind. This is my emotions. This is my thoughts. How do you know how to compartmentalize it and know when to use your tools and where? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Before I dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at underscore just underscore scene underscore. Be sure to check out my website, IamJustSeen.com, to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of the podcast. Not this episode, but the podcast itself. And as always, Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And you know the vibes. That's that for this and that's this for that. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into Frail conversations, mental health. And don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the Frail series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Scene about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. All right. Welcome back. And without further ado, we're going to dive straight into it. So, mental health is the health of the mental. Duh, bars. But we want to break down everything. See, the thing about health is that we have to look at health as a totality in the whole totality of things. Like, we look at health as a one-sided thing, right? Health is not always positive, but it has its negative moments too. But health is partially, maintaining the positive while understanding the negative. That's what makes you healthy. Right? It's not hard. And this is with anything in life, physically healthy, mentally healthy. You know which things go towards, spiritually healthy, which things go towards the positivity, which things will go towards negativity, and how to approach when the negative things are in your space. Hardest thing about the mind is that when you're not being your true self, the mind is easy to manipulate and it's easy to go down a spiral of fucked up health. You feel me? This is one of the reasons why as men, our mental health is fucked up. Our mental health is so fucked up it can cut 10 years down on our lives. People be like, why do men live 10 years less than women? They try to make jokes about it because men are stupid. But no, it's because of our mental health and we're stubborn. And we don't know the difference between being strong-minded and being stubborn. Largely because the motherfuckers we interact with are stubborn motherfuckers calling themselves strong-minded and trying to get us to take on their beliefs and their thoughts. And that's what fucks with your mental health. Did you know everybody's not supposed to believe the same thing? I'm going to pause with that so I can sip my tea. Everybody is not supposed to believe the same thing. It's crazy, right? Somehow we all been codified to believe in the same thing. Because now we have to understand when it comes to mental health, right? We know the mind is the bridge between the body and the soul. But I've done episodes previously where I kind of defined it. So what I'm about to say right now is, coincides with it. But within this bridge but between the body and the soul, you have the bridge made of emotions and thoughts, right? These two things literally walk hand in hand in your mind, pun intended. Like they walk hand in hand together. Your emotions do not come without your thoughts, and your thoughts do not come without emotions. You feel me? Low key, not low key, but this is how anxiety and depression are what they are. This is why they work. Anxiety is our disconnect from the future. It's our desire. Our anxiety comes from our mind staying in the future. Our depression comes from our mind staying in the past. Now, when our mind stays in the past, depression kicks in because emotions come first before thoughts. No. Thoughts come first and then the emotions come behind them, right? So with depression, you have the concrete thoughts that you keep going back to, and it triggers the emotion that was tied to that. And we're more convinced to think about bad shit for some reason and dwell on bad shit because anything that we think about that is good, we largely want to profess it. And if we want to speak it as being good, then it has to come from a different place. You feel what I'm saying? So when we actually speak good shit, people around us say, "Oh, yo, you bragging? Oh, you like? Did you know bragging? it- Bragging low key is a form of good mental health." Of course, if you're gonna fall on miserable ears, they don't want to hear that shit. So it does sound like bragging. But is it bragging for real when you're just expressing your elation? No, it's bragging when that elation falls on deaf ears. Again, tying it to our mental health because if I can't express good shit in my life, that means I'm not as allowed to express good emotions for the sake of making another motherfucker feel bad. Here's one of the mind fucks that really fucks with us. On one hand, we're not able to share good shit because another motherfucker might be going through something, while at the same time, when it's time for our bad shit, somebody else could be going through something worse. So we're just taught not to deal with that shit. No, they may be going through that shit worse, but that doesn't diminish what the fuck I'm going through. You dig what I'm saying? I've had several conversations with motherfuckers where I'd be like, "Yo, I'm tired." You ain't tired. I don't give a damn how long you worked or whatever the case may be, bitch. I said I'm tired, so I'm tired. You can't tell me I'm not tired because I'm not as tired as you. The fuck? You feel me? That would be just me saying, like, you feel me? If a motherfucker that like look how childish this shit is. If a motherfucker who was 5'10" said I'm tall, and I said, "Bitch, you ain't tall. I'm 6'2". The fuck? Like, nigga, that motherfucker 5'10". They're shorter than you, but they're tall in their own right. You feel what I'm saying? We do that same shit, and like it looks stupid as fuck when you do it on a physical level, but when it comes to the mental, somehow we can't do it anymore. Like when I tell people about, yeah, you can be healed. Life is a healing process. If you want to keep healing, I don't have an issue with that. I have no issue with you telling me that you can't be healed, but me personally, I happen to have a different connection. I know that you can be, if you can be healed physically, you can be healed mentally and spiritually too. That's why do we believe that our physical healing can be done in a couple of weeks. Now, I'm not saying mental health, mental healing, because it takes a deeper root, but you can reach a point of being healed. The reason why we don't get to that point of being healed is because the language in which we associate our healing. We don't know that we don't pay attention to the mental side of the mind. We try to focus on the health and not the mental side. So what we do is positive vibes only. Let me stay away from this circumstance. Let me only involve myself with this circumstance. And you're limiting your experience in this world because you're not actually getting the healthy tools to go into certain spaces to be proactive. So you just think that your health is staying away from and going into, do you really have a strong mind or are you stubborn? This is why I ask religious people. This is why I'm so well versed in religion the way that I am, because I'm really strong minded, but I'm not stubborn. A lot of religious people are stubborn and they're calling it strong minded. So you ask them, they be like, "Yeah, I know about all of this." And then you ask them to go into detail about the shit they claim they know about. They don't know. Well, you gotta lean on you gotta ask for your own clarity. Say you don't know and admit that. But see, that's a problem because it fucks with your mental health. Because we have to realize our mental health is tied to the information that we accumulate. So with that being said, we have to look at it from we have to look at mental health the same way we look at physical health to thoroughly get to a point of understanding how to utilize it. You feel what I'm saying? When you go to the gym, you have a set workout that you're gonna do every day. Maybe not every day, but when you go to the gym, you're like, okay, I'm gonna do my push-ups today. I'm gonna do my squats and shit tomorrow. You have a certain thing. How come your mental health isn't built like that? Oh, I'm just gonna read a whole bunch of books so I can drop some knowledge. No, you have to intentionally use your fucking mind to strengthen it. One thing my mama always told me, I don't even know if she was really privy to what she was doing, but she was up there and I fuck with it. And this is partially where I've gone. I can't say that my mom is responsible for it, but nonetheless, she's still a catalyst. You do what I'm saying. But in her allowing me the free reign to develop my mind and actually go into things and study, like it gave me the routines on how to use my mental health. You feel what I'm saying? Because like I said, she always told me you got to read for three things: entertainment, inspiration, and education. No, entertainment, inspiration, and information. You need to read something out of those three things every day. You feel what I'm saying? In the beginning, it was, your Bible will be your inspiration. You feel what I'm saying? Your school and everything is your information, and then your entertainment, of course, is your social media, your TV. Like she had me focused, like I was guided to that, so it helped me see things on that. But the thing about it was, even that was limited because it's like now we go into a world of a system that says creates the lexicons and creates the thing we're supposed to do. So it gives you religion, say your inspiration has to come from here. Once you learn, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, just from personal perspective. Once you reach a point of understanding a religion in its full, it becomes difficult inspiring you. You feel what I'm saying? Because what happens when you draw on the story of David and Goliath too many times? It gets old. You feel me? What happens when you draw on the story and Noah too much? It gets old. What happens when you rely on the patience of Job? It gets old because that is where that's the only place. Because then you get, I'm tired of drawing on this same inspiration. I'm tired of going through these same trials and tribulations. You're going to keep going through those same trials and tribulations because that's what your mind is on. A lot of people don't understand that our problems and our solutions are created in the same circumstance. Like people don't really understand, people don't really get it. Like when you blame outside sources for your circumstance, you'll never understand your cause and your circumstance, or how you initiated your circumstance, or how your circumstance has been. And now, this is not a point, because we're talking about mental health, of placing blame, but this is accepting accountability. One thing that they try to get us to avoid doing is accepting accountability by under the guise that we're blaming ourselves. No, don't blame yourself. No, blame yourself. Simultaneously blame yourself and give yourself credit. That's accountability. That's, I got to give myself credit for the shit that I did. I got to place blame on myself for the shit that I did. Because the more shit I give myself credit for, the better I feel about myself. The more shit I place blame on myself for, the badder I feel about myself. And eventually I'm going to want to stop feeling bad, and I'm going to want to feel good, and I'm going to do things more that I can give myself credit for. It's not hard. It's not hard. But now, tying it in to that and then making a parallelism with physical health, what are the dynamics, the pieces of the mind? You got to work your belief. You got to work your knowledge. You got to work your wisdom, and you got to work your understanding. You do what I'm saying? You just can't. But see, the thing about it is like how they got us programmed is to just only have belief day, metaphorically. You know how motherfuckers, you can't skip leg day, right? You can't skip leg day, but you can't only have belief day either. But that's what they teach us to have, belief day. A lot of us have accumulated information with nothing to do with it. We think we smart as fuck. We think we highly intelligent because we're smart as fuck. Let me Intelligence is the ability to understand, decipher, and utilize information. To be smart is to accumulate that information. You ever paid attention to the show? It doesn't say, are you more intelligent than the fifth grader? No, because naturally you're supposed to be, but are you smarter than the fifth grader? Did you retain what you learned in the fifth grade better than the fifth grader who's in it right now? That's it. That's why all of the questions when people say, I don't, it's been so long since I've done that, I don't remember. It's always about memory. It's never about the actual thought process. You feel me? But it ties into how our mental health plays out. How do you train your mental health? You feel me? If you don't start, like when I tell people you got to go through the antithesis or something, that's the foundational piece of starting your mental health. The thing about an antithesis, the moment you learn how to master an antithesis, it helps you understand the battle between your emotions and your thoughts. Your emotions and thoughts will always be prevalent at the same time because they are your mind. How you think and how you feel go hand in hand. One doesn't come before the other, and one doesn't come after. They literally show up at the same time. The problem is we're so wired to pick a side that we're not allowed to harmonize with them. Women too. I know this is so for a conversation, but I'm trying to put in perspective women. Women, on the other hand, like they're taught to embrace their emotionality, not their thoughts. we disrespect the fuck out of women when it comes to their thoughts. Like, oh, you thinking like a stupid little girl, or you know what I'm saying? Case in point. But there's some women will internalize it. I was selling cars one time. As the details, you feel me? And this is low key. This is one reason why women get taken advantage of in car dealerships. I didn't take advantage of this woman, but at the same time, women have an expectation of being defeated. You feel me? So she comes into the dealership. I want to negotiate. Certain shit you can't negotiate, but I'm gonna fuck with you, right? So she tells me I need this particular car. I'm looking for this gas, this, and I want to stay within this price. Okay. When you buy cars, it's different from when you sell them. Simple. I know shit about the car that you don't know because you're a buyer. I had one dude tell me, I'm gonna get back to her story, but I had one dude tell me one time, yeah, I've done negotiation overseas and all of this, that, and the third. I buy cars every year, blah, 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 ha, ha, ha. And I looked him in his face. One of my homies, he told me this shit and it blew my mind. It made sense. I said, bro, I sell more cars in a month than you buy in a year. You really want to negotiate? You really want to like play that? And it stopped him like, how dare you say that back to me? But he's like, yo, most of the time I say that it intimidates the person into giving me a better deal. I'm not being bitch to give you no motherfucking better deal. I got bills to pay, nigga. Fuck you. So Shorty comes in and she's like, I want this car. So I put her on a Prius C. That's what you can afford based off of the criteria you gave me. You can't get no Prius top V model. You feel me? Had another kid. He was a military kid. E1. E1. You're not even supposed to buy cars. Look, because we lived in a military town. Like I was selling cars in a military town, right? They literally had a law. They had a rule that a person that they cannot, like the military said, y'all cannot buy cars over this. They had a program that said, nah, y'all can't do this because those kids were doing stupid shit. This kid, he was an E1. He came in with a girl and she was like, we're only doing luxury BMW. I said, nigga, you can't. I said, what? I said, what's your rank? I'm an E1. I said, bro, you can't get no BMW. What you trying to say? I'm broke? No, I'm not saying you broke. I'm just saying you don't have the funds to afford this. We know what E1s make. We know that when we sell BMWs, when we sell our Toyota Avalons, when we sell our high selling vehicles, they are at least the E7 and above. You an E1? I can't, like, what you want me to do with that, bruh? You feel me? She's like, well, we're just gonna go somewhere else because we're gonna get a luxury car. I looked at him. I said, bro, and I told him straight up. Now, this wasn't, it wasn't it doesn't matter what kind of couple it was at this point. This was some disrespectful shit because fucks with the mental health of the man. I'm like, yo, you dealing with this girl. I could tell she ain't never had shit, bro. I could tell she ain't never had shit. And I'm like, yo, dude, you're in the military. She's not. I said, so what do you do? She said, he's gonna pay for it. And I'm looking at him like, you gonna say something? Like, no, I can afford it. No, your mental health is getting fucked up because now your ego's getting involved because you're not listening. You are E1. You are E1. You barely make $1,000 every 2 weeks. This BMW costs over $500 a month. We can't do that to you, bruh. Legally, we can't do that to you. So I told him, I said, hey, yo, if you want a BMW, you gotta go to it. Not buy here, pay here. They gonna run you an arm and a leg, but you'll probably get it. You're not gonna get it here. Because contrary to how fucked up banks and shit really are, some of them really do care for when you start working with like major dealerships and shit, those banks really care. That's why it's hard to get approved because they really fuck with the people. You feel me? They really fuck with the people. But it's like I'm not fucking like we're not talking about redlining and shit, but I mean as a core. So I know his mental health was fucked up because he's so stubborn that he's not strong minded. You're letting this girl tell you that you're gonna get a BMW. You don't even make BMW money. You're stubborn. You're not strong minded, right? So how does that translate to us? Because now, what level of the mind is that? This is why I'm talking about mental health. It's like it's different than just what are you working out? If you know you want a big chest, you're gonna go do push-ups, right? Or you're gonna do bench press, right? You're gonna figure out what it is, right? How do you strengthen your mind? The first level is belief. We already fucked up. Like, how do you believe in something? How do you strengthen, how do you have a strong mind when it comes to belief and not a stubborn mind when it comes to belief? You feel me? You have a strong mind when it comes to belief when you can listen to an opposing side and you can see. This is why I always tell y'all the truth is found in the middle of between opposing sides. When your level of you have become strong-minded when you have been able to do that with your belief system. I've had so many people like say shit like, I've had a woman say, not to me, but I've heard her say, she's like, yeah, you can be with a non-religious person if you're religious. No, you can't. That's how y'all know y'all ain't strong-minded for real. because you have to get into a situation. You're stubborn because you're like, yo, but eventually sometimes you're gonna come over to like, then that's not giving them space. You feel me? I have a lot of people ask me, yo, could you be with a religious woman? No, I couldn't. No, I could be with her, but we couldn't be together because she's gonna be capped off. She has fears that I don't have. She has limitations that I don't have because she belongs to a religion. And it ain't got nothing to do with her as a person being bad or anything like that. But I know the limitations that religion is going to put on your mind. I don't have those limitations. It's like when people don't understand how excited I get to use my mind, how powerful my mind is, how powerful every mind is, but people don't understand how some people actually enjoy it. You feel me? Motherfuckers tell me, yo, I'm reading this new book. Yo, I read that book, blah, blah, and I be getting excited. And it's not on a one-up type shit. I want to talk about the fucking book. How far are you in it? What chapter are you on? Where did you get to this? Oh, I ain't started it yet. Oh, I don't get it. Like, why are you like, come on, bro? I'm not trying to compete with you. I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? See how strong your mind is, see where it goes. But see, when you get those people who can't really use their mind, they just got to be stubborn. And they can only fuck with people who are in a space who don't use their mind where they use their mind. I'm a challenge to motherfuckers because when motherfuckers say, I want to gain some knowledge, I want to get smart, you're going to meet me. Not like collect like all y'all, like everybody's gonna meet me. But if you have met me and you have uttered the words, and some I want to learn new information. I want to go, I just want to see how deep my mind can go. Holla, welcome to the Terror Dome. You feel me? You met me because I'm able to relate to how you need your information and deliver the process to actually take it. You feel me? But at the same time, I need to show you what a strong mind really is. You feel me? Every strong-minded person that I ever met has literally walked both the light and the dark path. Every stubborn person has only walked one side. Some people literally want to be bad people. Some people literally want to be good people and just can't do anything else, but they don't understand that life is a balance between two. I'm good and I'm bad at times. I was going over my human design again, right? And something stuck out to me this time that I didn't catch last time, right? Because I have a new perspective of life. You feel me? And it made sense when it clicked this time and saying it was like, yo, I'm a fighter. It's like, yo, I'm a natural fighter. I have a psychic ability to know how and when to fight in every situation. On a physical level, made sense. I was like, yo, niggas, I would just fight. Like, you feel me? And I fought everybody differently. I never paid attention to that. My homies will always be like, my brother would be like, yo, don't slap box with people because you'll show them how you fight. I don't fight the same way every time. If you're a big nigga, I fight you in one way. If you're a small nigga, I fight you another way. Short, tall, I fight people different ways. I fight you the way you show me you need to be fought. I never paid attention to that when I was a kid. Ever. You feel me? But then even deeper than that, it's on a mental and a spiritual level too. You know how to fight. The reason why I'm saying that is because that is something that was hardwired innate within me. That with poor mental health, I try to avoid. I tried to suppress it because, oh, you don't want to be the violent person. You know what I mean? Niggas just don't need to fuck with violence. How about that? You feel me? Certain things you can't shake about yourself, and they're not necessarily character flaws, but society will make it a character flaw. I'm glad that I know how to fight in all facets. I know how to fight every system. I know how to fight systems too. Like it becomes deeper than that. There's things on a physical level that you never really know how to access, that you really don't know how they translate into the spiritual side until you understand your mental. You feel me? Until you understand your mental, and understanding your mental dives into understanding the four phases of the mind. So we covered the belief. I did each individual episode on these individual things, but those pieces are your quote unquote muscles. We only exercise our muscle of belief. Now, here's why that's problematic. Because belief, the function of belief is either off of fear or faith. With faith, you go towards what you don't understand. With belief, you stay away from what you don't understand. Right? Then once you're in belief, you got to get through the wall of cognitive dissonance and you got to go through the antithesis and things like that. Then you finally gain knowledge. See, what people don't understand about knowledge is like when you're actually utilizing the faculty and you're using the quote unquote muscle of knowledge, You're not just accumulating information, you're learning how to start compartmentalizing it for application. Just like there's a wall between belief and knowledge, which is the wall of cognitive dissonance, the wall between um, knowledge and wisdom is deliberate action. If your information doesn't inspire you or trigger you to do something with it, you're just in a state of belief. That's how you become stubborn. That's how you get these motherfuckers who can talk, 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 choo, choo. My bad. But they could talk all this motherfucking time and never give you anything. They're called motivational speakers for a reason. They stir up the belief in your mind. They don't give you the knowledge to actually do some shit. That's some shit you got to come with. You got to come with the knowledge of initiation. You feel me? That leads to you actually starting something. That's hard to get. You know why? Because people like to be theorists. One thing that I learned, and this fucked up my whole mind when I came to conversation, how we think conversation is today is conversation is called conversation, but it's really debate. Every conversation we have with every human is under the guise of debate, not conversation. It didn't hit me until I got a little bit older, and I'm like, niggas really don't listen to hear what the fuck you say. It's just to respond. Why? I could never understand why. I'm like, when people would just, I'd be talking to people, and I'd be like, you literally did not think about what you just said. You just said it to keep the conversation flowing or to flow in a way that you feel comfortable. You're not listening to what I'm telling you. It's solely to debate. Our conversation model is debate. Think about it. From the way in which we approach women to the way in which we speak to each other, just every conversation is debate. It's court and debate, not conversation. See, conversation is a message is sent, a message is understood, and the message is given back in the state of, continual process, right? Niggas ain't, when they send a message, it's bam, I said this, you said this, I said this, you said this, I said this, you said this, I said this, you said this. So now, when what you say is like, that's why motherfuckers can only hear buzzwords. That's why motherfuckers can only hear buzzwords. And when they hear it, they get triggered by certain shit. Because you only know the art of debate. You only know how to debate. You don't know how to converse. How do you know the difference between conversation and debate? The slight pause in hearing something. This is why debate needs a forum to where we're going to give you guys your time and we're going to give you your time. Because in the art of debate, because when debate is really on, it's soon as you're done talking, I respond. No, you can't do that because it's going to throw off my shit. Right? But the conversation is, what did you say? Now, what's my rebuttal to what you said? Just like battle rap. Just like battle rap. You feel what I'm saying? The reality is that we focus on debate and not conversation, but we think we're conversing. That's why we don't learn shit. Because it's, what information do I have? What information do you have? Fuck what knowledge we have to apply. What knowledge have we applied? We don't talk about what knowledge we've applied. We talk about what information we've obtained. And we debate on that. And then we call it conversation. Why we always got to argue? Why we can't just agree to disagree? We don't have to argue, but we need to have conversation. You can't have healthy conversation with people who are built off debate and they can't lose a debate. Everything got to be an argument with you. It doesn't have to be an argument with me, but when you're wrong about something, you're wrong. Now, here's the information why you're wrong. Oh, accept it. Don't shut down and be like, niggas always trying to do. No, that's why you don't grow, motherfucker. That right there is why you don't grow and shit, because you are used to debate. Now, how does that fuck with your mental health? Because it stunts your growth. You don't get out of knowledge because you just keep accumulating information that you can't apply and you don't apply. You make it seem like you're applying it because you talk to people in such a conventional way that you stand in a way in which is believable. People trust what you say, but you don't know what the fuck you doing. When I realized that we're programmed just to be able to say shit without actually knowing it was when I was in undergrad. I bullshitted the answer, and everybody that was in the class knew it was the answer. They said, but the way in which you said it, don't nobody know you was wrong. They said that's how raw it was. They said you said it so motherfucking well that don't nobody know it's wrong, which is bad because it is wrong and people are going to believe what you just said because of the way in which you articulated it. Oh, see, that's why I don't give a fuck about articulation. Oh, and that's why I feel disrespected when people are like, oh, you're so articulate. Bitch, no, I'm not. Because you're trying to imply that I'm smart. Nah, I know how to convey a message. That's what you mean. No, in the art of debate, I know how to clearly get my point across. But I am a person who knows how to converse now. So I know to shut the fuck up and listen so we can stay in context of what the fuck we're talking about. You dig what I'm saying? And even deeper than that, low key, this is why my podcast is done by itself. I know a lot of people, oh, you just stingy, you're selfish. No, because I like to have conversation. I don't like to debate. And I know that the average person is wired for debate, right? And I'll be like people, and this was gets people, people say, damn, how do you get to talk so long on your podcast? I can barely get this, that, and the third. You need another person to debate with, right? You're gonna call it conversation, but it's not conversation. You're actually debating. I don't know if y'all remember it, but I had a guest up here. This is why I stopped doing guests and shit. But not specifically this person, but you feel me? I stopped doing guests because we weren't having conversations. You feel me? Niggas just wanted to argue and use my platform to try to argue with me. And I wasn't gonna let that happen. So in the conversations, like I can feel the energy of the person trying to downplay and spark this. I'm like, I'm not, no, we're not going down that route. I'm gonna keep it here. Fuck what you talking about. You're not fucking up my energy on my shit. You got me fucked up. You feel me? I remember that episode. It was so hilarious because so many people was like, bro, you handled that shit so well. They were like, I could tell she was trying to get to you, but she couldn't. I said, right, because I'm not debating with her. I'm conversing with her. So I kept redirecting the conversation. I remember one part, she was like, well, apparently I don't know what it is. I said, no, hold on. This is what you said. You stated this part. So this is what we have to address. And the fact that she got frustrated off of what she said and me remembering what she said and sticking to that point, that's when I started to be like, all right, motherfuckers really don't know how to converse. They only know how to debate. They call it healthy debating, right? Where we just constantly go back and forth. Here's my view. Here's your view. You're not listening to me. You're just, I'm wrong. You're right. So here's what we're saying. It's like, nah, this is what people be like in the heat of the moment. Could you change your, yeah. If what you said process and it's like, oh, damn, that's it. You just gonna change your mind like that? It ain't about changing my mind. You was right. You feel me? I had a conversation with a girlfriend one time, and like we literally going back and forth, and I said, "Damn, you right." See, you just saying that to shut me up. I'm not saying it to shut you up. You're really right. And I broke down why she was right and everything, and she was like, "See, that's all I was trying to say. I heard you. All you had to do was say the shit, but you sitting here arguing over stupid shit. You feel me? Like, and I realized that once the conversation, like when you start to deal with energy, like this ties back into the mental health. Cause like when you start to deal with energy, like you see shit like well, women will approach and shit. I'm about to ask you something, don't lie. The fuck? I don't even like why would I lie? Cause I don't even like you didn't like you probably would have got the truth anyway. Now I'm gonna lie just because you just try to play me. Like, oh, I already got the answer. No, you have an answer that you feel suffice for you. You don't have the clarity. That's the fucking problem with a lot of motherfuckers, right? And why it fucks with their mental health. We be having answers, but we don't be having clarity. That's why the answers be wrong sometimes. And we make up whatever the fuck we want to make up because when we hear these answers, all we hear is compartmentalized shit. And we start debating. Oh, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this. What actually happened? Listen to what the fuck is being said. And you're like, oh, that's what was said to me. That's why this was this way. That's why this. Yes, exactly. Motherfuckers don't listen to that. Why? Because it's largely tied to our emotions. So within the belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? I know. Well, where do our emotions sit within that? It's all of them. The mind is the bridge between the body and the soul. The belief, knowledge, wisdom, they're all levels of the mind, but it all has to be simultaneously both emotional and thoughtful. Has to be your emotions and your thoughts running hand in hand together, filtering at the same time because they work at the same time. You feel me? Ooh, you gotta have emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? The ability to understand and process your emotions. That's it. That's it. Motherfuckers be thinking like they try to tell you that emotional intelligence is taking on the emotion that another motherfucker is feeling. Fuck that. I don't have to take on the emotion to understand what you feeling. If you angry, you're angry. But I understand why you angry. I don't need to take on your anger to understand your anger. You feel me? That's what the thing is. People with empathy, people, oh, I know what you feel. I don't know what you feel. I don't even lie to people like that no more. I used to be that motherfucker, this deity don't make no mistakes. Everything happens for a reason, blah, blah, blah. I stopped doing that shit to people because I know how bad it hurts to hear that shit. A lot of people don't admit that shit. You feel me? When my grandmother got murdered, you know how many motherfuckers say the Lord don't make no mistakes. You know how hard that was for me to process? You know how hard that was to process. That my grandmother was murdered on purpose. Because a deity this is how it, like, my grandma didn't hurt nobody. She didn't bother nobody. She loved the community. She was always walking, doing her thing. People knew her. They looked out for her. They protected her because of her energy. She was such a good person, and she was murdered. And the Lord didn't make a mistake for that. Now, this is seeming like, yo, scene. So you let your emotions get involved while you let the religion go. No, my sanity was losing because I was trying to process how this deity made no mistakes. My grandmother being murdered was a clear mistake. It was a clear mistake. But then now it's making me wonder, like, you feel me? Now this is my mental health being fucked up. Because now what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking don't make sense. But you're telling me, oh, it's the mysterious ways. He don't make no mistakes. You can't, you gotta stop telling people that because it makes it hard for them to process what the fuck is actually happening to them. You dig what I'm saying? So in that, it sent me deeper into the religion to try to quell my sanity. Because I'm trying to figure out how could you do something like this to this person? But then I had to go in and read the book. I had to go in and start studying shit, and I had to start to look at life differently. You feel what I'm saying? I had to start expanding my mental health because belief was one thing. Because now, when I believe that, imagine this. This is just the first level of the mind. Under the belief level of the mind, I believe that my grandmother died on purpose, like she was supposed to die. How do you process that? When a motherfucker tells you that a deity makes no mistakes to you, and this you, how do you process? Like, you're in a grieving state, and a motherfucker tells you that, yo, you know that shit happened on purpose, right? That sounds so much colder, but that would be so much honest if you said that to me. If you came to me during a time of travesty and you said, yo, this happened on purpose, right? It's what God wanted. God did this on purpose. No, he makes no mistakes. Like, really? Like, really? You feel what I'm saying? That is one of the reasons why we can't deal with our emotions. We're not allowed to process them. Soon as our emotions hit as men, it's, oh, don't cry. Ooh, I'm sorry. Don't feel this way. You shouldn't be mad. You shouldn't be this. Don't be emotional. Everybody shuts down our emotional side, but our thoughts never stop. And that means our emotions don't stop. Because now I'm trying to repress these feelings you telling me not to feel because I'm good, but these thoughts are still there, and these thoughts trigger these feelings. Ain't nobody wants to admit that to you. Because we keep trying to be macho men and shit. Macho man. We trying to be these tough ass motherfucking men, and we can't even see past the emotions that keep coming up. You feel me? Kendrick Lamar got a line in the Classic Man remix where he say, "Let my daddy smoke his weed. That's the only thing to keep him friendly. My brother got PTSD, and he's not sane unless he's like not on the crazy shit, but he got to smoke weed. He got to smoke weed. It's nothing wrong with him as a person, but that quiets his emotions that are tied to the thoughts that he constantly feels. People don't understand how, like, when people are going through battles and shit, it is a battle because their emotions and your thoughts are triggered at the same time. But your thoughts don't stop, but they just keep making you feel a certain way. That's how depression works. The thoughts trigger the feelings. You feel me? Anxiety works off the other side of that. The feelings trigger the thoughts. You get feelings about the future and the past and shit that you never experienced before. And now those feelings, because they feel so real, you create thoughts that stick into your head that become. This is what, let me show you something. That just goes into mental health. This is how manifestation works. They teach you to write the goal down and all that shit. You don't have to write shit down. Trust me. You don't have to put a pen to pad. You don't have to do none of that shit when you know why it works. When you understand what the purpose of putting the pen to the pad is first, they're not telling you that the core of all of it is feelings. This is why the feeling kicks in, because what feelings do you want to feel about your future? See, when we create goal lists as men, because we're not taught to actually feel, you feel me? We don't know that our goal lists are supposed to be created through our feelings, not through our thoughts. We write down, hey, I want to do this, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And that's why we don't have the energy or the drive to do the shit, because we don't tie our emotions to it. The reason why women can manifest faster, because they automatically put their emotions in shit. Women feel before they think, men think before we feel, right? So when it comes to us manifesting shit, we need to feel it. We need to tie an emotion to it. What emotion do you want to feel with what you're about to think? You dig what I'm saying? And now that's what you bask in. I need to feel this feeling. And now I need to feel this feeling in these particular spaces. That's strong minded. That's mental health. If I don't feel these feelings, then that means that these thoughts aren't going to manifest the way I need them to manifest. Case in point, shameless plug that ain't so shameless. Learning, going through the process of mastering the market, hitting it raw, like not even hitting it raw, just mastering the market and inflate with inflation to get to where I am right now. The seed was planted through feeling. It wasn't planted through my thoughts. That's why I never stopped. When we're taught to make a decision, when we're taught to plan something about our future through solely our thoughts, it never manifests itself. It never manifests itself simply because we don't have the feeling associated with it, because the feeling is what we have to feel to supersede what, you know what I mean? We have to set that goal. But when we just set thoughts and we don't have any feelings behind it, our mental health is going to be limited because we're not even using our minds fully. So this is why it's hard to get to the level of understanding. When it comes to thought, the thought side of it, you're going to get like belief, knowledge. You need feeling to gain experience and understanding. It's simple. And the wall between wisdom and understanding is creativity. Yeah. They killed creativity, bro. Look at where we are right now. I have not seen a creative man in a long time, outside of myself. Not on any funny shit. Like you feel me? Like, let me say that. Let me not say that. I don't mean creative in a sense of like, I don't mean not. Let me say this. I have not. Let me say it like this. I know I keep saying I'm gonna say it, but look, I have not seen a man who can use his creativity. I've seen men be creative, but I've never seen men use their creativity. Now, here's why I'm saying it like that, because your creativity is tied to your genius, and genius is not what you are. Creative is not what you are, it's what you have. You have creative energy at your disposal. You have genius at your disposal to use, but now in order to use your genius, you have to be able to feel and think simultaneously, right? So when we look at people, we look at art, like that's easy to look at. You know, music and art are easy to look at as far as creativity goes. But there's a different level of creativity that comes with creation and different things like that, that doesn't necessarily have to be visually done. My creativity is different. I can paint pictures in your mind. I don't have to paint pictures on a canvas board. I can put words together in such an intricate way that I can paint a picture in your head. That's one of the versions of my creativity. You see what I'm saying? But even deeper than that, my creativity is how I apply my wisdom. When I apply my experiences, that's what you need to like. Our mental health is largely strengthened and developed by being able to apply our experiences. We get an experience one time and we want to gloat about it. Hey, bro, for real though, at some point we got to stop talking to women about masculinity and start talking to each other about it. And I mean really talk to each other. Not as enablers and co-signers, but as men trying to reach the pinnacle of our essence. And that's what the So Frail series does. So Frail 1 is the definition. So Frail 2 is the acknowledgement. And So Frail 3 is the resolution. If you rock with the So Frail conversations, I can guarantee you will rock with the So Frail series of books. So visit IamJustSaying.com right now so you can add the series to your library. I promise you will never look at masculinity the same again, and you're going to stop wasting your time arguing with women about it. This is a conversation that men need to have between men, and it's time we start having this conversation now. And leave it at that. And then we try to stay in that vein of, this is my prime. It's like, I don't have a prime. I've learned that. I've learned that. I've learned there's no such thing as a prime. That's a joke because it's all relative. Now, I think what happens is redundancy starts to kick in. And when you do something for so long, you eventually slow down. You feel me? But that doesn't mean it stopped. You feel what I'm saying? And I think the redundancy is what gets people off because when you're creative to a point where you can't be creative anymore, that's when the redundancy kicks in. You feel me? Like when you get to the point, like I understand, like when Jay said, "What more can I say? And what more can I do?" Within this pocket, what more is there for me to do? How much more experience can I be creative with? You know, with with inflation and everything, like I took my experience and I made my creativity to the point where the creativity is so simple. I might like I got certain formulas where I know, bam, this stock, this trade, this is gonna be what I deal with for that day. I don't worry about too much shit. And in that, I don't have to worry about like wild, crazy shit or anything like going against me because of how well I'm able to look at it. Excuse me. But I give my students that same creative experience so they can cut the curve. Imagine this: when you come into, if you're in the inflate with inflation community, you came into the inflate with inflation community and you was able to bypass the belief level and the knowledge level and the wisdom level of the mind and literally hop right into the wall of creativity to get to your understanding. I bypassed a lot of shit for that. You feel what I'm saying? But what that had to develop within me was I had to get my mental health right. Mental health is not just being able to deal with your emotions and vent and talk about that shit. Like sometimes you can't, sometimes you have no need to vent. We need to talk about that side of the mental health too. Did you really get hurt? Or was your mind really at a space now? Because we have to talk about strength and weaknesses. Is your mind really, I ain't gonna say weak, is your mind really that unconditioned that it couldn't take this? You feel what I'm saying? Again, we look at physical conditioning. Oh, I can run a mile. Can you run a mental mile? Oh, nah. I'm in my head. You're not in your head. You don't know how to process your feelings and your emotions together. Because our emotions shut down. Our emotions shut down, which means our thoughts increase because now our thoughts are trying to process emotions. The thoughts would be quelled a lot quicker if we just access the emotion that the thought is triggering. But because we men and we can't feel our emotions, we just let the thought run. And the emotions that we feel, anger, rage, and aggression. What thoughts do you think come with anger, rage, and aggression? Death, destruction, toxic feminine shit, right? When we get to a point of thoroughly understanding our emotionality and tying it to the understanding of our mentality, it makes us better men. Not only better men, better humans, because now we're able to realize and materialize what's in our head. Reality is the manifestation of what comes from your soul is willed into your mind. Now, so here's the thing. Will. Will is the dynamic of the soul, right? If the mind is the bridge between the body and the soul, you have the will, the thoughts to think, to create the action. But your will has to simultaneously create an emotion and a thought that go hand in hand to manifest some shit. When your emotions and your thoughts conflict with each other, what do you think happens? Imagine having a good thought with a bad feeling about it. And because you don't know how to process your bad feelings, now you fall into a state of depression or anxiety because all you can think about is bad shit. I know people right now that'll give me an idea about something and I give them the energy. And once they get the energy, they don't know what to do with it. And it's not that they don't necessarily know what to do with it. They're not used to doing anything with it. Right. So the will, it sends you initiates both the thought and the emotion at the same time. When our thoughts and our feelings are in conflict with each other, which is largely why our mental health is fucked up, it can't send the right action to our body to move. The moment we are willed to do something or we will ourselves to do something, We think about what we got to do, and then we feel the outcome out. If the feelings, if the negative feelings supersede the positive thought, we won't do it. We'll be inactive, right? So, in order to be successful with the mind, it's not just about your thoughts; it's about your emotions too. Now, your emotions now come into a bigger space because your emotions, you only have two, joy and pain, are derived from personal identity and the feelings that you exhibit. Your personal identity is important to being able to use your emotions correctly. Imagine having an emotional template or emotional palette that is completely destructive. What do you think your thoughts are going to be? So now, the music we listen to, the entertainment that we succumb to, the media that we follow the most, that helps program our mind. So when the will triggers the thought, or whatever the case may be, it helps with the emotions and the feelings that are associated with that thought and how we think. If every process of your mind, belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is tied, the only thing you're allowed to filter yourself through are negative emotions. No matter what your thought is, it has to be filtered through that. You feel me? When I was in middle school, before I went to high school and shit, one of my teachers was like, "I want you to play football because you got a lot of anger in you." Wow. Don't get the anger out of you, bro. Just channel it and use it for our benefit. Wow. You know how hard it is to think when you're angry? This is why when it comes to sports, this is why sports are what they are. You don't have to think when you're angry. Just let them unleash the shit. Let them unleash the shit. Make these motherfuckers violent. Put them in situations. Deion Sanders said something and everybody thought he was foul for it, but you got to understand how the game works. It was like he said, if he wants a quarterback, he's going to get somebody from a two-parent home. They got patience, they got this. But he said, if you want to get a motherfucker to be hit like a defensive end or some shit, he gonna get to the motherfucker who's raised in poverty in a single-parent household. He has anger. Who knows that he has to get his mama out the hood? You ever been hit by a motherfucker like that? I haven't, but I'm just saying. You ever been hit by a defensive end who has to get his mother out the hood? Who's built off of anger? Who never let his anger get to him because he just channeled it on the field? That nigga hurt you. Hit you hard. But that's who I need on this field to hit motherfuckers. Everybody knows how to use your physical. Now, when you understand how to manipulate somebody's energy and thoughts, you can get them to do what you want to do. People think mind control needs this fucking helmet. It don't. I need to control your will. I give you a religion. Now I control your thoughts. Like I got your education system, so I know how to make you think. And then I'm gonna make sure I control your emotions because I only trigger certain emotions for you to feel, and I don't teach you how to process them. Your physical action is your behavior. And now I can diagnose you and give you a pill. This is how I know who's going to be on depression. This is how I know who's going to have anxiety, ADHD, ADD. If you notice, every disease, every mental disease has an antithesis, has an exact opposite. I'm gonna say it like that. It's literally like, okay, if it's not this one, then it's going to be the other. Why do they make you an either or? Think about it. ADD and ADHD are literally opposite sides of the same coin. One of them you're real hyper, one of them you're not hyper at all. So most mental health shit is extreme. Depression is about your thoughts and your feelings about the past. Anxiety is your thoughts and feelings about the future. Bipolar, I don't even know how to say what that is. Bipolar, two poles. You feel me? I'm gonna show you why that fucks you up. Because naturally, everybody's bipolar. I know, mind blowing. Saying I ain't bipolar, yes, the fuck you are. You're a dual nature being. Why the fuck wouldn't you be bipolar? They want you to be even keel so you don't have highs and lows. Because when you have your highs and lows, you can find out who the fuck you are in between them. But no, nigga, you don't give a fuck about that. You're not gonna have no motherfucking highs and lows. Give you some medicine. You're not bipolar. You're not a dual nature being. You feel me? It is something in my throat. I don't know what. My bad. But you're a dual nature being. and they convince you that being bipolar is something wrong with you. It's not. But now we go into different levels of the mind and the mental health because now, what is the intelligence that runs your mind? Mind you, I just talked about this. Logistics is the only intelligence they teach from. You motherfuckers that be having bipolar disorder sometimes, y'all really be intrapersonal people. You know how to feel and connect to humans. That's not bipolar. It's human. But they got you believing that having a dual nature within yourself is something wrong with you. Yeah, 1 minute I feel real good, 1 minute I'm feeling real bad because your environment and your circumstances cause you to feel like that. You living in, they don't tell you that you're in the environment where you're in an environment that is based on consequences and reward, cause and effect. That's it. You feel me? So you have extremes because you never had the even flow of different temperaments. You're gonna get somebody who's extremely angry with you or somebody who's extremely happy. No in between. Or dealing with a motherfucker who don't know how to process their shit on their own. That gets scary. Because how does that translate to our real world life? It translates to our real world life in a way in which the psychology is manipulated and controlled. And it's manipulated and controlled so well that um it pretty much dictates what the reality is. It's like it's weird. Like I don't know. Sometimes we just look at life weird differently. Like we look at it like we're born a certain way, or it's like are they creating us like this? Yes, they creating y'all. They're creating y'all to be this way, right? Like I said, because it ties into AI. That artificial intelligence shit is like it needs no emotion. That's how it works, right? But what they've done is over the years, they've taken all of the test scores, all of the data that people have made, A students, B students, C students, D students, F students, all of this information has been compiled and tested. Like these things have been kept, these standardized tests that you scantrons, all of this shit. This has been recorded information, right? To where now all it took was 30 years. They use our generation, quote unquote, the millennials, and I mean a few other generations too. Don't get me wrong, but these academic testing scores, these were generations of time to create AI. So all of the industry jobs, when you think about all of the jobs that people are losing right now, they're being replaced by the computers because you already showed them what the computer needs to do. That's it. They programmed it according to the human. Now they're going to need organic intelligence. You feel me? But organic intelligence has strong mental health. This pandemic showed you who was strong minded, who was stubborn. Most of the stubborn people eventually broke and ended up getting, vaccinated and shit or whatever the case may be. Strong minded people didn't. You knew some of the stubborn people was like, yeah, I remember you was talking about a vaccine, this, that, and the third. Then how you get bitched into taking the shit? You didn't have a strong mind. You didn't have a strong mind. You had a stubborn mind. And that stubborn mind eventually reaches the point of, breaking. Like I said, this ties into the art of debate. It's either or. Like you're gonna pick a side rather than actually seeing what both sides are saying, as in conversation. Most of the conversation that we have in this world are just off of debate. I know more than you, or I know what you don't know. Rather than, hey, I should learn from you, or I could learn from you. I had just made this post about from Nipsey the other day, and feel me, it applies to how I get down. You feel me? It was like, yo, who do you get advice? I still advice. He like, I still advice. You ain't even gotta, you feel me? You ain't even gotta you really don't have to break down everything. You could say something that'll pique my interest and I'll go study it. I don't need you to give me the information. I just need you to give me the rules of the game. Give me some of the lexicon of the game. That's it. I'll figure out the rest. Show me some of the lingo and some of the jargon that they speak on a certain shit, and I'll do the rest. Not everybody can do that. And it's not because not everybody's smart or intelligent or shit like that, but because of the way the mental health is played out. Nobody uses their mind to think anymore. You feel me? We use our minds to maintain information, to hold information, and constantly dispense it. That's the only purpose of the mind is designed to process information. That's it. But yet we use it to make decisions. We use it to actually go beyond what is, you know what I mean? That's why the mental health is so taxing because we don't understand what the actual mind is supposed to be. Belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? Those are the four levels of the mind. Conscious, subconscious, unconscious, the three modalities of the mind. You feel what I'm saying? Emotions, thoughts, you know what I mean? The duality of the mind. Um, there's multiple levels that we all got to pay attention to and work out that we don't. But we read. And we barely do that because we don't comprehend. We sight read. Like there's so many people who I remember these days. I hate them, and I'm glad I don't have them anymore. But when I used to post captions and people would just see buzzwords and then respond, I'm like, I said that, right? Or we just saying the same thing differently. If you're registering that we're saying the same thing differently, why the fuck didn't it register when you first read the shit? That means whatever you read the first time, whatever it triggered, it somehow our conversation led to you ultimately saying the same thing I'm saying. So either you just didn't like what I said or you didn't comprehend what I said. Because and if you can't comprehend what I said, you damn sure can't comprehend what you think. To know that we said the same thing a different way and you went on that way and saying we were saying a different thing, that's a problem on your half. Like, but that shows the mental health is about debate. It's not about conversation. Because if it was about conversation, the motherfucker would have seen we saying the same shit or we even think the same way. Nah, you have to say exactly what I say, how I say it. And that's the problem. Because our minds are predicated off of who we trust. So this teacher, trust that I'm telling you what's right. It's like, come on, bro, these teachers are stupid. I'm not calling them stupid in a disrespectful way. I know stupid is a disrespectful word, but I'm not calling them in a disrespectful way. But I'm speaking in the sense that education system is programming you not to think. So what the fuck you teaching? What they want you to teach. I never forget when I was in undergrad, I had a cohort who was like, they were comfortable getting a C in physics and they were going to be a science teacher. I said, y'all niggas is weird. I feel like above all, anybody, if you're gonna be a teacher, you should have A's in everything. But some motherfuckers become teachers because it's easy. You feel me? And then they wonder why teachers need to get paid more. No, they don't. Y'all are an oversaturated market. Stop allowing motherfuckers who fail at they shit to just come and teach, and then teaching wouldn't be what it is. Y'all wouldn't get paid less. Supply and demand, motherfucker. Teachers are like E1s in the military. The fuck? Do what we tell you to do. That's it. Like, you're not changing no world. You're not making the world a better place. You're making the world the place we need you to make it. We're not gonna pay you more for that. The fuck? We're gonna give you just enough resources to get by to come back to work. You know what I mean? That's on you that you couldn't do it. Cause C's get degrees. But in that, where does our mental health fall within that? Because like I said, now I'm gonna break it down and we're gonna say, like, literally, we're gonna put together everything that's in the mind. And now you're gonna see what your workout has to be. If you understand the physical aspect, you got biceps, triceps, back, lats, all of this. You niggas know they target muscles, but they don't know the target muscles that ain't mine. Belief, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, conscious, subconscious, unconscious, seven intelligences, music, interpersonal, spatial, kinesthetic, interpersonal, language, logistics, emotions, thoughts. These are all of that. These are your body parts. These are your muscle systems in your mind. How do you work them? Think about that. Like with all of these right here, right? The only muscle we really work is belief, but all of these other muscles are still inactive, are still have to be functional. You feel what I'm saying? Like you can skip leg day all you want to, but eventually that shit gonna catch up to you. You feel me? Start looking like an upside down Coke bottle and shit. Like fuck, no, stop skipping leg day. We can say that shit on a regular basis, but what about mind day? Within the mind, is this emotion day? Is this thought day? Is this conscious mind, subconscious mind, unconscious mind? What am I dealing with today? You feel me? What part of my mind am I dealing with today? And what part of my mind do I need to work? They got us believing that all we got to do is meditate. All we gotta do is pray and meditate. Even those two things ties into the mind. Prayer sends the message up. Meditation brings the message back down. But do we know that? Nah, because outside of the belief, our deity has to think for us, or somebody older than us has to think for us. Like we always like, I'll say this and I'm gonna try to start wrapping it up. So my right hand man, he one of the people that put me on entrepreneurship. But I had a coworker, and me and him, we kind of went different ways when it came to our entrepreneurship. But like within the company, it was like I jumped up above him and I moved a little bit faster. But he taught me everything. But one thing that was separated between us is like when it came to our supervisor, I was always telling the supervisor what I was gonna do. He was asking the supervisor what he should do next, which is why I went up before him. Because the supervisor was like, yo, it's like the difference between y'all two is that you're gonna you're gonna take the initiative. Now, people like now, mind you, me and him are both Aries. So it ain't sign shit. Like literally, our birthday was a week apart. He's a little bit older than me. So it's not sign shit. It's just the own personal mentality of what we have. Our own mental healths are different. That's it. This is another thing that I be trying to tell motherfuckers. Like, I can't tell y'all to do the shit that I do because y'all minds ain't as strong as mine. That sounds so disrespectful. It sounds so disrespectful to a stubborn mind, to somebody whose mental health is built off of debate. But when you have a healthy mind, it's not. If I'm telling you, if you go to the gym with me and I tell you I bench 350, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not. And if I tell you that I bench 350 and you tell me that your max is 150, I'm not going to tell you to bench 350 with me. And you're not going to arrogantly assume I could bench 350. Why doesn't that apply to the mind? Why doesn't that apply to the soul? But specifically the mind, since we're talking about mental health, why doesn't that apply to the mind? Ego and arrogance. Bitch, you ain't supposed to be that smart. Bitch, I'm smarter than you. Bitch, I got A's in this class. Like, I've had motherfuckers, like, we had conversations and shit, and I be talking about grammar and English. They're like, yo, I got an A in English class. That's not what I'm talking about. I got A's too, but can you apply the shit? Do you know the syntax of what it is? Like, how in the fuck you bragging about getting an A and you still use your, and your wrong? Or your, and there, and there wrong? How do you, like, you're still using that wrong, but you got the A? The fuck does that mean? The fuck? That means your mental health still ain't strong. You just stubborn. You just stubborn. So you're gonna be around other motherfuckers whose mental health isn't stronger than yours. You feel me? I'm gonna be strong as fuck if I'm benching 350 and I'm always around motherfuckers who only bench 200. I appear strong as fuck. But when I bench 350 and I'm coming around motherfuckers who bench 500, 600 pounds, eh, the fuck? Am I gonna talk shit about them niggas and say some shit like, oh nah, y'all really ain't as strong as you think you are? The fuck? That's so rude, right? That's so disrespectful. Knowing that you bench 225, you really would go to a motherfucker who bench 450 and say, bitch, you not really as strong as you think you are. No. Do you know why? Because it's tangible. You can physically see the results. It's hard to see the results of the mind. That's what you got to listen for, and that's what your emotions are for. You feel me? I already know that motherfuckers know my mind is stronger than theirs when we approach each other because they say, yo, I'm not stupid. I never said you was stupid, but my essence right now is making you feel stupid. It's not that it's making you feel stupid, it's making you accept that I mentally bench more than you. Rather than hating and getting mad and bitching and saying, trying to undermine what I know or thinking that you gotta, like, no, nigga, come to the gym with me. That's it. Ego won't let you. But your physical side can see that shit. If you know, okay, this motherfucker bench 350, I'm gonna go work out with him because I want to bench 350. Mentally, this motherfucker bench 350 and I want to mentally bench 350. I'm gonna go. Shout out to my homies that have taken the one-on-one sessions with me. Shout out to the people who've done. Those are the people who realize, damn. And this is no sight because I know some of y'all are listening. I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way, but keep the parallelism. You accepted that, yo, his mind is stronger than mine, but I want my mind as strong as his. So you booked a session and we worked out. And you like, oh shit, you taught me some motherfucking game. You gave me some motherfucking workout to go do. So this is how you got there. Now with time and me constantly using this workout, I'll get to where I could bench 350. But I gotta be consistent with the workout. I gotta be consistent. I'm big on that. You feel me? My mind's strong as fuck. My mind is strong as fuck. That's why I tell motherfuckers it's not just the books I read. See, when you want to just focus on the books that I read, that's when you want to stay in the belief level of the mind. I use my whole mind. My mind is not in a space where only a small aspect is used. Every part of my mind is accessible. So when they say you don't use it, I use 100% of my mind. Never registered that I use 100% of my mind until I started breaking down the different pieces of my mind. Yes, I use my unconscious mind too. Well, and I know how to program my unconscious mind. Those are levels to the shit that I learned how to do. So when you come to me and think you're gonna read a book that I read and think you're gonna get here, no. Because now when you read that book, belief, now you have to go through the opposing side. You feel what I'm saying? Which is the antithesis to gain the actual truth. You're gonna take this truth, the information that is presented off both sides agreeing with each other. Now you have to apply that. When you apply that, you gain the knowledge, and now it turns into wisdom. That wisdom that you make, now you have to get creative with that wisdom and create and lead to understanding, so you can just accept or reject things. Everything in my life reaches a point of understanding. Now once I understand something, now I compartmentalize it into the subconscious mind, down to the unconscious mind, so that I don't have to think about the shit that I understand. When I do podcast episodes, oh, you did this in one take, you don't write shit down, you don't be there. I know, because it's in my unconscious mind. So when it's time for me to talk, I just let it go, because I've already programmed the shit. I've already programmed the shit. So when people say, "Oh, you got a good memory," I don't. My memory is not good at all. I don't have a good memory. I have thorough understanding of shit. With thorough understanding, it gives me a strong mind rather than a stubborn mind. And with thorough understanding, I make choices, sound choices, and decisions that benefit me, not impulsive shit that I think is going to make motherfuckers happy. I don't care about making other people happy anymore. That does nothing for my mental health. There's nothing positive for my mental health trying to make people happy, because that is an impossible task. Because I would have to know what your happiness is consistently. Happiness is a fleeting situation based off of something happening. That means I have to constantly be entertaining you in order to make you happy. Fuck no. Fuck no. Fuck no. It won't happen. But you don't get to that point until you have a strong mind. You dig what I'm saying? I know I like how you like how I brought that metaphor down into it. It's like it makes it not look so arrogant when I say, yo, my mind is significantly stronger than yours. I'm not being a dickhead. I'm not being an asshole. You're just not used to actually hearing it from that perspective. You feel me? My mind is literally stronger than most people around me. They can't accept that because they're not privy to a powerful mind, especially in the black community, especially this young. You feel me? I'm not young. I'm 33. But at the same time, considering how long I've been on this tear, all my life, all my life, I've been grinding all my life. But considering how long I've been on this tear, right? It's like my mind has always been strong. And people used to always say, yo, you're just so smart, you're this and that third. And I realized I'm not smart. I'm strong minded. I'm strong minded in the world where people are stubborn minded. People be thinking I'm stubborn because I'm strong minded, and they can't. Like, I remember I was having this, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna try to wrap it up. I was having a conversation with a shorty one time, and we was talking about Dragon Ball Z. And I was like, Dragon Ball Z is a metaphor for black people. She huffed and puffed. Oh my gosh, I get tired of y'all talking about that. Every time I meet a woke person, y'all always talking about Dragon Ball Z. Is this that, and the third? I was like, I don't know what the other motherfuckers say it for, but I can literally go down from beginning to end and show you the parallelism. Okay, then do it. Okay. In the beginning, Goku. Nah, I was like, but now when I break it down piece by piece and I show the exact parallelisms, I show how the Saiyans, there's a point where Vegeta talks about a true Saiyan, their hair is it's the same way that it's supposed to be from birth to death. Like they have the same length of hair. The hair doesn't change. That's a consistent thing about the Saiyans, right? In addition to that, it stands up, it gravitates towards the sun. We already know what that means, right? Their hair grows up. All other species of, humans, whatever the case may be, their hair drops, whatever. Satan's hair rises. Okay. Just like black people's hair. Because black people's hair is different because our hair is 9 ether. White people's hair is 6 ether. Our follicles are different. Not on any funny shit, but 9 ether hair is actually hair. 6 ether hair is fur. Only animals have six ether hair. Nature shows this because it's a different bulb of the follicle, because it allows the hair to go down towards the earth, which means that that follicle with a six ether follicle is designed to spiral down, which means it goes against the sun. Nine ether goes towards it. You ever paid attention to how, remember when Drake said, I turned a six upside down, it's a nine now? Six is the mark of the beast, nine is the mark of the God. We can't make this shit up. But then when you go into melanin, melanin, which is what black people have, is selenium based. Pheomelanin, which is what white people have, and which is largely tied to the skin beneath fur, is sulfur based. Here's why that's important, because sulfur is an alchemical principle of the devil. But we're not going to talk about that. We're talking about Dragon Ball Z, because the hair is what's important, right? Say Frieza calls the Saiyans the monkeys, or whatever the case may be, but Frieza has a fear of the Saiyans actually rising up against him, because he knows the privacy of there being a Saiyan who remembers who the fuck they are, taps into their Super Saiyan, and destroys the opposition and the oppression that Frieza has put on him, right? Goku does just that. Not only that, when he gains the knowledge of himself, he deifies himself. Then he turns his son into gods, and those around him reverberate the same situation, right? When black people tap in and get into their inner core, they get back to the rhythm of who they are, right? They use martial arts as a sense because that is a physical aspect of the body. That is the highest aspect of the physical body, right? However, martial arts has to derive from the willpower. The willpower has to derive from the mind. The mind has to trigger the action, right? When we look at the core of the martial artist, in order to be a top martial artist, study a little bit of shogunism and shit like that. You had to have a little bit of black blood in you, right? But it's deep. There's a lot more levels to it, but this is the podcast I was talking about mental health. So in the conversation, in the context of it, once I broke that shit down, I went down a little different. She was like, oh wow, nobody ever broke it down like that. I know. Because these motherfuckers' minds ain't as strong as mine. I don't know disrespectful shit, but I know how the mind works, and I know how they're using their mind versus how I'm using my mind. This is why I'm still standing right now. You know how many motherfuckers that I seen when we first started this shit? Like when the woke community first started booming and shit, like how many motherfuckers was dropping all of this knowledge and shit, and they only lasted 6 months because there was memes being. I've consistently taught y'all new shit all year, every year. Every year y'all been fucking with me, following me, whatever. I consistently taught y'all new shit. Where some of the counterparts taught you the same shit over and over and over again, they stopped teaching it because they can't teach the same shit again. That's where the separation within the minds are. My mind is stronger than most people's. But I know how to tell people to get their mind strong. I know to tell you what gyms you should go to. I know to tell you which workout you need to work. I know how to tell you which things you need to do. And it has, notice, I didn't talk about what book to read. I didn't talk about none of this shit. Everything I talk about was already in you. You just got to understand it about yourself. That's it. You don't need a book to understand that there's, well, you kind of do, but you don't need a book to understand the four levels of your mind. You need experience to understand that. You don't need a book to understand that you have three modalities of the mind and how to access them. You don't need all of that. But once you understand that information and you get it, now apply it. You feel what I'm saying? When it's time for me to study people, I only learn what I'm supposed to be learning. I don't give a fuck about wasting my time trying to prove a point to y'all of how smart I am. No, I learned this because of this reason. You feel me? When I look at hitting the raw, motherfuckers think I just went and I just studied a whole bunch of books. I did, but I experienced those books too. And that translated to being able to give the information away. I gave it. Ain't nobody do that. Ain't nobody do that like I did it. And that's what pisses a lot of motherfuckers off. Cause this profane profanity shit pisses motherfuckers off because the profanity should make you feel like I'm stupid. He cusses. He's this, that, and the, like, yo, but my mind is significantly stronger than yours. You realize how, like, that's why they have to oh, you don't have a degree though. Yes, I do. I'm a friend of biologist. Oh shit. Well, you ain't, wow. Why don't you? I don't have to use it. You need to use yours. I've already used mine. Literally. Motherfuckers, oh, you're not using your degree. I used it. The fuck? I'm not using my degree to make another motherfucker rich. I'm using my motherfucking degree to pay for the fucking degree. The fuck? Hitting it raw was everything that I learned when I was down the medical path. Hitting it raw was all of that. I got nutrition, the science, the genetics, all of that shit. I put it in one book. Now I have literally created something that I can use for the rest of my life. You see what I'm saying? Y'all minds don't work like mine. And it's not because I'm superior to y'all, because I actually decided to work out. Motherfuckers love to go to the gym. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Do your push-ups, do your sit-ups, but then go to your mental gym too. Go to your mental gym. It ain't just about reading and watching YouTube videos and shit for mindset. Mindset is bullshit. Mindset is bullshit because when something you need external forces to set your mind, you don't have your mind. So you can't call yourself strong-minded. You feel me? A lot of people I know tell me, like, yo, how do you just have the issue? I control my fucking mind. Not only do I control my mind, I control my soul. So because I control my soul, I will my mind to do what I needed to do. Some motherfuckers can't even get to the understanding of their mind because they don't have their soul. And this ain't motherfuckers, just motherfuckers who sold their soul to the devil, whatever. These motherfuckers who gave willingly their soul to the deity that they serve. Never met the deity a day in their life. Imagine that. You go to church, get baptized, you go to the Holy Ghost, whatever the case may be, and then the deity meets you over time. See, the problem is don't nobody want to be honest. Don't nobody want to be honest. Most religious people don't want to admit that after they got baptized, the feeling that they felt, it wore off after 2 or 3 days. You don't really feel protected. You don't really feel invincible. You don't really feel like you can just walk out and nothing's gonna happen to you. Nah, nah, you don't. But nobody's willing to admit that shit because they think, oh, I got baptized. I'm covered by the blood. Are you? Are you? How is the devil still busy even after you got baptized? What the fuck does that mean? That shows that you don't understand the capacities of your mind. Now, this is why they give us gods and devils, because gods and devils create the will. The will is what's supposed to be ours. This is why the church is within. But whatever, as long as the church is without, guess what else is going to be without? Your gods. So, gods and devils, that's where our will is. Our will precedes our thoughts. Now, we just broke down how the mental health plays in and how our mind plays in. When your will is of God or the devil, like if you following the will of God, you're also gonna follow the will of the devil, low key. Because who does God use to put the bad shit in your life to strengthen you? The devil. Mm. Nigga, you serving both. That's why that motherfucker be busy more than God be busy. Like y'all be weird with that shit. I don't get how that happens to y'all. I don't. I'll never understand it. The reason why is because I didn't get how it was really happening to me. I would utter it, the devil's busy. But then I think about it, man, bro, you did some stupid shit. Accept it. Well, the devil made me, the devil didn't make you do shit. I remember I had a nephew who was being bad in school, and I said, so how you gonna be good? I'm gonna pray to Jesus that he make me good. No, nigga, just be good. The fuck? Just be good. You're making the choice to be bad. Excuse me. You're making a conscious choice to be bad, bro. This ain't got shit to do with Jesus. This ain't got shit to do with none of that, but it got everything to do with your mental health. I'm saying that to say this too, because there's a thing going around with astrology and tarot readers on YouTube where they have to put on their description that this content is for educational purposes. No, for entertainment purposes only. Not education, not spirituality, whatever, because these people are saying things like spirit told me, spirit led me to say this, right? And they're saying that's a mental disorder to say spirit or something like that. But yet, God and Allah can speak freely to us, just nothing else. Of course, only the gods we told you were gods are the gods you can speak to. If you speak into any other god, you have a mental health issue. And it makes sense why you would have a mental health issue because the god of your enemy is your devil. So if me and my enemy are serving the same God, what you think my mental health is going to be like? I'm going to have a poor self-image in myself naturally. This is why I tell people like there's two different chosen people. Listen to how the chosen people are defined. The way the Jewish people describe themselves as chosen people, as the people that are going to control and have Gentiles as their slaves. But look at the chosen people. We call ourselves, we are the slaves. Like what? Because the God of your enemy is your devil. I don't make the rules. Y'all do. Y'all make the rules by following the religion. And you wonder why you're in the state that you're in because your mental health is showing that you're not supposed to be more than you are. That's why I ask people, how do you know more? How do you know Deuteronomy 28 better than you know Psalms 82 and 6? Well, because Deuteronomy is the curses. I know. And Psalms 82 and 6 says, you are gods. We're not gods. That's blasphemous. Okay, cool. Well, Jesus said the shit too in Psalms 10 and 34, 10 and 31. He says, don't your word say you are gods? Like, I'm reminding you, nigga, this is God reminding you niggas that you God too. But y'all don't want to be God. Why? Because your mental health is tied into the oppressive state that keeps you as a mortal human being rather than deifying you to the immortal God that you were created to be. And don't forget to check out Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Cafe Clothing. All right, all right, all right. We're going to end it there. And we're going to end it there. I ain't got much more to say about that. Like, mental health is important, but this is why the mental health of black men is so fucked up. Because now your mental health is tied to your deity. It's tied to everything. But when you don't know how to strengthen and utilize your own mental health, the world just gets fucked up for you. And everything is dictated by what you need somebody else to do for you. We got to learn how to deal with our emotions. We got to learn how to truly master our mental health. But in order to master the mental health, you have to master the mind. Like, you cannot get physical health does not get better until you understand the physical, the body. You see what I'm saying? You can't work your triceps. You don't even know what the fuck a tricep is. You can't work your calf muscles if you don't know what a calf muscle is. I'm not saying you got to know that it's called the gastrocnemius. I'm not saying no shit like that, but I'm saying you need to know that the muscle, what does it do? When I stand on my tippy toes, it contracts, which means what? It elevates me. I got to figure out the innervation of this muscle, what nerves, like there's things you got to know to master that. If you don't master it, somebody's going to control you. Your personal trainer is supposed to be teaching you about your body, supposed to be teaching you about nutrition, but we pay for the convenience of give me the meal plan, give me this to eat. No, this is one of the reasons why I teach y'all to get the fuck away from me. I love y'all to life, bro. I do, but I do not need y'all dependent upon me. I do not need y'all dependent upon. I need y'all to learn the game, whatever game I give you, so you can have the skills to go on about your business and get the fuck out my face. I love y'all to life. I promise I do. I do. But I want you to think for your fucking selves. I don't like thinking for people. I don't. I've developed that hatred for thinking of people over the years because people would front like they thought like you thought. And so you hold them to that standard and they not there. And so people will often try to use your mind. You feel me? Motherfuckers that hit me up. Like, I'm gonna show you how rude this is, bro. And if you did this before, yes, it is rude. I don't give a fuck. Like, you feel me? If we don't have that type of vibe, if we don't have that type of connection for open like that, what entitlement does it do? Where do you get off thinking you could just send me something and say, what are your thoughts on this? You feel me? I get it. You know what? I'm not even gonna say that because that was like that's not that. Sending me something and saying thoughts. You didn't ask me shit. You demanded that I give you my thoughts. Fuck you. If you have ever sent me something and you have been left on scene and you just said, you just sent me something that said thoughts, that's why. Now I get it. That's passive aggressive. Why don't you just address them to him? No, I'm not even dignifying your bullshit with a response. You're not saying hi, good morning, kiss my ass, up my dick, nothing. It's just thoughts. Fuck you. You tell me. And then off the other side of that, sending me random bullshit that I don't give a fuck about. This is a little bit of venting right now, but random because it's been happening a lot lately. Sending me random bullshit that I don't give a fuck about. What makes you think I wanted to know about that shit? I get it. You can't post that shit on your page. I get it. No, no, no. I get it. You scared to post that shit on your page. I get it. You don't want people to think a certain way about you. You feel me? You just in a state of like, I don't try to use me as the motherfucking freedom minion. I talk my shit. You know why? Because I can deal with consequences. Y'all can't. Y'all don't. So don't send me no shit like that or just send me random bullshit that don't like I am a thinker. I do not like being entertained. Entertainment is trash to me. It's stupid. Cause it's like, yo, I don't entertainment is pointless. When y'all send me random bullshit that does not provoke a thought, fuck you. You're wasting my time. I like using my mind. Don't send me shit that makes me stop using my mind. You feel me? And you know what the fuck. Don't. If you one of them that's been doing this shit, don't try to get all defensive and hurt and shit and say, "Well, I was sending shit all the time." You know what the fuck is thought provoking, and you know what the fuck is time wasting. You can look at a motherfucking post and know if this is gonna waste my motherfucking time. I want to know what your thoughts on this. The fuck, y'all gotta stop. Like, look, when y'all sending me posts and shit about, oh, see, the U.S. dollar is weak. It's dying. What are you doing? Your stocks are gonna go up, dumbass. What do we do with the US dollar getting weak? Buy stocks, dumbass. Yes, I'm saying dumbass so hard because when people do shit like that and you're trying to make it seem like you're trying to, I don't, what are you trying to challenge me? Like what I said was wrong or some shit like that? I see it differently. So my response to it is going to be different from yours. You're panicking because you don't know what the fuck we're doing. I don't give a fuck about the news about the US dollar, bro. Because some of the people can't even think about the other side of that. Everybody keeps sending me this brick shit. Think about that, y'all. It's going to take 5 countries to overthrow one currency. Who's really stronger? Like, I don't get it. Y'all are because y'all don't think, because y'all don't know how to think. This is why y'all send me the shit so I can think for you. I don't like thinking for people unless you pay me. If you pay me, I think for you all day long. But because of the power of my mind, you got to pay me top dollar to think for you. I'm expensive to think for people. Like, I don't like, I'm expensive as fuck. If you want me to think for you, you're going to pay me. This is why, like, motherfuckers, every time I talk about trading and investing, motherfuckers be like, and this ties into mental health. I'm gonna keep going. Every time I talk about trading and investing, motherfuckers like, how about I just pay you and you do it? You're gonna front the money and you're only gonna get 10%. I'm keeping 90. That's not fair. The fuck it's not. The fuck it's not. Nah, I think we should do 50-50. I think you should get the fuck out of my face. I think you should do 100% on my course and learn this shit yourself. Keep 100% your profit yourself. Nah, I'd rather you do it for me. And I'm keeping 90%. That don't make no sense. So if you make me $10,000, I'm keeping 9 and giving you 1. Yes. That's not fair. It's perfectly fair. I got to pay the taxes. I got to take the hits if the stop loss goes out. I got to take everything. You're only getting a profit. You're getting 10%. You're getting 10%. It's just not happening. I'm not doing this shit for you. I'm not thinking for you. The fuck? The reason why I said it like that, because I hate people that don't. I don't hate them. I hate that people don't like to think. I hate it. Not only that, I hate that people don't like to think, but then play like they're thinkers. Everybody loves to play. Everybody hates to look stupid, but they love to play clueless. I've learned that. On paper, motherfuckers that have a whole conversation with you about what they think they know. Then when it starts getting, then they want to play clueless. You feel me? Oh, you should do this for me. You're gonna pay me. You're gonna pay me. The fuck? You're gonna pay me. I got family right now who be like, yo, you gonna give me a familiar discount? Only if you give me familiar gratuity. You should be paying more because I am family. Not less. The fuck? You got me fucked up. You got me fucked up. But I'm saying that all because of the mental health of the people. Our mental health is codified just off of the belief level of the mind. Niggas is really running around here creating lies, babies, everything off of only the belief level of the mind. While the people using your mind understand all of the levels and know how to extract every piece of it out of you by giving you a job. I'm gonna give you this amount of money every year for your mind to benefit me. I made too many motherfuckers rich in this world with my mind. And you know how powerful my mind is. And I've done it fast. Like my mind is so motherfucking potent and so motherfucking strong that I cut curves that motherfuckers can't cut. I mastered the market in 3 years. And I cut curves that motherfuckers like. I mastered the market in 3 years and I've learned the depths of the markets by people from the depths of the markets that I have learned come from 40 years of experience. And I ain't even 40. That's how good I am at using my mind. I know. I know. It's very hard to hear. It's a hard pill to swallow when I talk about my mind. You feel me? Nobody says shit about an athlete who says, yo, I run fast. Nobody gives a fuck about, nobody says anything when the football player says, I run a 4.2. Because we can see him run a 4.2. All right. Then when you ask me about my mind and how I use it, and I show you how I use this shit, why the fuck is there a question? Why? Because you can't quantify it. The mind was never meant to be quantified. But this is why they give us statistics. This is why we get stats. Only the stats matter. That's why I like to call Jordan the GOAT. Jordan had a good point. Only a GOAT would say this shit, but him and Kobe, like when the GOAT is the GOAT because they're gonna say, like, you can't call us the GOAT because there's other tangible, intangible things you can't factor in. He was like, I've never played against Dr. J and them. Is that to say Jordan would decimate Dr. J? No. But you got to think about the levels of the game. Like when I say, like, I get it. We live in a nostalgia because everybody like, yo, we seen Jordan play. We played with him. The game, the pace of the game today is Jordan's pace. He was the only one playing at that pace when he was at that pace, but everybody else are on his pace now. Jordan would have just been an average player if he came into the game now. I'm not trying to be funny or shit on him, but use your fucking mind. Stop using the statistics and actually use your mind to actually see this. The game, what Jordan did in 96, all of these people are doing now. There's no reason why Kevin Durant should be playing like Jordan, but he's built like motherfucking Scottie Pippen. Think about that. On paper, Kevin Durant is not supposed to be moving how he moves. Him nor LeBron. But the way Jordan elevated the game, everybody else matched that. This is why Kobe gets lost in the middle of it. This is low key why Kobe gets lost in the middle of it, but he's not really lost because it's like Kobe comes from that cloth. You feel what I'm saying? But if you look at the game that is played today, they caught up to how Jordan played by himself. When Jordan played, you had Jordan and Isaiah. Like, you had individual people that stood out. Now you have those elites that have elevated because everybody plays the game to Jordan's level. Jordan in his prime is the level of the game now. You feel me? It's like the very shit that they're like, yo, the referees that changed the game, they soft and this, that, and the third, they calling it for this person. Like, those are the calls Jordan got. The fuck? He was the only one getting those calls. He would even tell the referee to call that for me. You feel what I'm saying? I'm saying that because when we look at that as men, right, we have to understand that as time changes, things are supposed to elevate. Why do we only focus on elevating the physical and not the mental? Because none of us really elevate our mental. We just want them to know that we're civil. We don't want them to know that we use our minds better than them. I have not met. I grew up in school all day. Like when I grew up, the best schools were the white schools and blah blah blah. I was in honor class and everything. I outthought these motherfuckers. It's one thing on a physical level, and that's one thing that always got me because, like, on a physical level, I didn't play sports or anything like that. So that tangible side was, but when it came to being smart and using my mind, nobody could fuck with me. I use my mind the way the athletes use their bodies. And that's what I want for all of us because we got to get our mental health in check. We got to bypass just using belief, bro. We got to understand some shit. We have no understanding anymore because we don't understand and we don't utilize both aspects of our mind, which are emotions. We got to actually learn our feelings, learn what a feeling is, learn how that feeling triggers us, and learn what thoughts trigger our feelings. And that's how we remain in control. Because once you get to that point of understanding, you now have created a healthy bridge between your actions and your will, between your body and your soul. If you do not address your health, if you do not strengthen your mind, mental health is not just about, excuse me, mental health is not just about, ooh, I'm done with this. So I don't want to think about it no more. It's not, it's being in control of the thought and the feeling that is inspired by whatever it is you're doing. This means not being too consumed by pain while equally not being too consumed by joy. Euphoria is just as potent as trauma. This is one of the reasons why we fuck and we like sex so much. Sex is the only time as men we feel euphoria. Nobody wants to address that. When people say, why do we fuck anything? Why do we fuck all the time? Because it's the only time we're feeling euphoria. We cheat because we are losing in our relationships. And we are losing in our relationships because there is no euphoria. There's happy life, happy wife. There has nothing to do with the husband. There's nothing to do with the man. We are not appreciated in those situations. And we don't address that we're not appreciated because we don't want to deal with the emotional side of it. The emotionality of our mental health, that part is important to us. And we need to address that better. You dig what I'm saying? We get in these situations where infidelity is what it is because we're losing in the situation because we're not feeling any euphoria, but we keep generating it. We giving flowers. We giving this. Like we have to keep generating euphoria for motherfuckers who won't generate euphoria for us. And sex is the only way we get that zeal of euphoria. That's why we're addicted to it. That's also why when you ask the average man, what's your love language? Touch. We're deprived of fucking touch. That's crazy. As much as women love to be cuddled and hugged upon, we are the ones deprived of touch. Because who's hugging on these women? We are. We're touching them. They're not touching us. There's a difference. And we're emotionally deprived of that shit. Why is he fucking anything? Because that is the physical touch. Ooh, I'm not in the mood tonight, babe. All right. All right. He cheated. It's deeper than that. He was No. Y'all don't pay attention to us. Y'all don't give a fuck about us. Y'all don't care about the shit that we actually need. And that's what fucks with our mental health because we have to keep chasing euphoria. Only place we find euphoria is drugs and sex. We don't find it in our everyday lives because we're not allowed to feel it because as men, we're supposed to be giving euphoria to everybody else. And when we don't give euphoria, they inflict trauma on us. It's crazy. And that's the state our mental health is in. That's the state our mental health is in. The quest for always looking for euphoria and never finding it because it's not given to men. Euphoria is not something that we can have unless we fucking. So y'all wonder why we fuck a lot. This is why we fuck a lot. Because we're deprived of the physical touch that men are supposed to naturally have. Because motherfuckers don't want us to be punks. Motherfuckers don't want us to be soft. And that turns us into heartless animals that still yearn for that euphoric feel. That's why we fuck a lot. I did. The niggas around me, like, there's a direct correlation. Like, we wasn't hugged as a kid, bro. Like, we wasn't hugged as a kid. We wasn't loved as a kid, like, in that way. And we were looking for that physical touch. Like, you stop hugging on people. Like, you feel me? Hugging on your mama, hugging on siblings and shit. Like, you stop. You get cold. You don't, like, I didn't realize this until I watched this video and shit. I'm gonna say this, I'm about to wrap it up. I was watching this video and there's a woman, she just broke down crying. She was like, I'm deprived of touch. They told her to get something like a physical, like a weighted blanket or some shit like that. She said she hasn't been touched. And I sat there and I said, part of me, low key jealous. It was triggered, but it was like, the fuck she complaining for? I was like, motherfucker, we don't get touched at all. And I just thought about it. I was like, damn, we don't get touched for nothing. Like, and it's I like it how it's coming out. Like, they be like, I want to be the little spoon sometimes. Damn, damn. Sometimes we just want to be held. Sometimes we want to feel euphoria. And because we don't, sex is the only time we feel it. And that becomes the addiction because it becomes the addiction because that's the only source we can get. Like, addiction comes because there's an isolated effort towards triggering a certain thing. You feel me? When your endorphins are only released off of one thing, that's where the addiction comes in because you think that's the only place it comes from. When you learn how to have a plethora of things that you can get your euphoria from, you don't become addicted to things because you can move around. Now, in a world of men where we can't feel feelings or have euphoria, sex is the only time it's permitted. Why do y'all come so quick? Because that's the only time we feel in euphoria. And it happens so rapidly that we ready to release it and give it back, give it out. Like, I need this feeling. I need this feeling so much now that I can't extend it. I need it now because I don't get it on a regular basis. I'm always holding her. I'm always holding them. Nobody's holding me. Nobody's loving me. Nobody's touching me. That's why most of us have the love language of touch because we're deprived of it. Your love language is what you're deprived of the most. And we're deprived of touch. It's crazy. But I'm going to end it there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And our boys. This is the segue into the mental health. Like, yo, start, like, teach them all levels of the mind, the modalities of the mind, the intelligences and shit. All of this shit is in So Frail 3. But teach them these things and teach them the importance of understanding their feelings and giving them the comfort and the free reign to understand their feelings. It's okay. Touch them. Touch our sons. I know we come from a cloth of, if you hug your son, kiss your son, you gay or whatever the case may be. I might want to break that shit because somehow homosexuals are still being created when none of that was being done. So that's not what makes your kid gay, bro. Low key, if we really want to think about it, like, the deprivation is what's happening then. Because you got to think, like, this is what we're looking for. To admit that I want to be held, I want to be touched. Oh, that's not a man. You're not a man. So I automatically think I'm not a man. And that ain't even the case. That ain't even the case. Our boys need to be held. They need to be hugged on. They need to be touched. They need to be kissed. You don't have to kiss them in their mouth or feel no shit like that. That's your own insecurity. If you feel like kissing on your son or hugging your son, there's something wrong with you. But yet, you love your niggas. You ride for your niggas. The fuck? That shit weird. Niggas be in the club with bottles, got their whole arm around their right hand man and shit, drinking and shit. This is my mans and shit. This my nigga me, blah, blah, blah. But you won't even hug your motherfucking son. You won't even hug your motherfucking son like that. Cause you gonna make him soft. So what the fuck is happening between y'all two grown motherfuckers? Shit different. We can't keep doing our boys like this. They're not animals. They're not monsters. They're humans and they feel and they need touch and they need love. They need all of these things. But more important, they need the mental health to be able to process their feelings correctly. And only we can give them that because we have to master that within. We got to stop playing this game, bro. It's time to change. The old way wasn't working, so it's on us to do what we got to do to survive. So with that note, on Tupac note, I'm going to end that. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And I'm going to see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.